Okay, now let's talk about Standard 4. In Standard 4, the biggest thing is 4.1. The instructional materials contribute to the achievement of the stated course objectives. Again, going back to this image that we looked at last time, you'll see that we have, again, learning objectives as the foundation, assessments that's the covering, and then instructional materials, course activities, and course tools all support that roof, that ceiling, because without these things, you cannot get those assessments. You can't be successful in those assessments. If any of these is faulty or fail, then the learners will not be successful on the assessment. So instructional materials is the first one that we look at. And the big thing that your reviewers will be looking at is that the instructional materials guide learners and present the information that's needed in order for them to succeed on the assessments. The activities and the tools all are geared towards helping the learner to achieve to be successful on the assessments, which then means that they've learned the learning objectives. So we want to make sure that those align with each other. Then the next thing is we want to make sure that the student understands how the instructional materials are used for the learning activities. So in here, one of the things you can do is just as you present the instructional material, say you tell the student to read a chapter in the textbook, tell them what to focus on in that chapter. If there are some pages in that chapter that are vitally important, then tell them, really focus on these pages. If there's some content in that chapter that students tend to struggle with, tell them, students tend to struggle with this concept. As you read it, pay attention to whatever it is that they need to pay attention to help them be successful. Make sure that you model proper citation. Read that annotation. If you just use your own work and the publisher's work, then you can put a notation at the end of your begin here and say, unless otherwise cited, all material comes from the publisher or was developed by the instructor. If you use anything from the internet, another textbook, document, whatever, cite that properly. Whatever style your field uses, cite it in that style, because what you're doing is you're modeling for the student how to cite. So this helps them learn that and learn the importance of that. Make sure your instructional material is current. Don't be using something from 10 years ago if you're teaching a computing class, because computers have changed. Don't be using something from 10 years ago if you're teaching a medical class, because medicine has changed. So just make sure your material is current. And make sure you give them a variety of instructional materials. Not everyone reads with good comprehension, so provide some other ways that they can get the information as well. And then if you have optional material, make sure you indicate clearly that it's optional. Just putting the word optional in parentheses works for this, and it is strongly recommended that you include optional material for those learners who are struggling with a concept or for those learners who are really enjoying the concept and want to dig deeper. So that's what you're looking at in Standard 4.